focus to the top story that we are tracking very closely. Amid soaring AQI and the onset of winter season in the national capital, Delhi activates stage 4 of its emergency anti-pollution measures as the city's air quality has reached alarming levels. The emergency measures were announced yesterday evening as the AQI in the national capital hit 457 as per the evening timing. In such an air emergency, the CAQM has implemented a stringent 8-point action plan aimed at curbing the escalating pollution and protecting the public health. But the big question remains, how did we get here? Yet once again, there is no doubt that the national capital has earned enormous shame worldwide in failing to handle the growing pollution woes. But at the same time, band-aid measures including odd-even scheme and others have been implemented. But what seems to have brought a change? Smoke from the burning of paddy reside in the Punjab and Haryana is historically a key contributor to the capital's worsening air quality index in the winter. Data points out that farm fires' contribution into the national capital has dipped this year. If we believe the figures, according to the Centre's Decision Support System, that's the DSS, farm fires have accounted for an average of 16.23% of Delhi's finer particulate matter, normally called PM 2.5, which is lower than last year's nearly 21%. The fact of the matter is that what's causing the air emergency at this point of time, burning our lungs, if that's the case. Joining me to discuss about the potential contribution of the recent increase in the farm fire is a senior NASA research scientist, Hiren Jethwa, who has significantly studied and observed how the mapping and the tracing of the farm fires and the aerosols in it has in fact been neglected. I appreciate you joining me live on the broadcast, sir, and thank you for speaking to NewsX. What we have understood so far, Mr. Jethwa, at this point of time, if we believe the data, that the farm fires this year have dipped, but at the same time the resolution of the present crisis is nowhere in sight. So how do we decode this, and do we also have a solid point in understanding where we have missed the lead of understanding what's actually contributing the highest into the growing air pollution in the national capital?
Yeah, you just mentioned that the fire activities have dipped this year. That's not true, first of all. Yeah, it is partly true because we hear in US as well as there are several agencies in India that are tracking these crop fires using the NASA and NOAA satellites, which overpass the region at about 1:30 to 2 p.m. So of course there is a dip there. We see much less number of fires during that time window when this satellites pass over the region. But the other satellite data from Korea, the geostationary satellite, it shows there are more and more fires are occurring during the late afternoon hours between 4 and 5 or even 6 p.m. So what we see from this our standard satellite is just one small part of the whole day activities. So fires, if you look at the geostationary data, you can clearly see in the satellite images as well as in the data that the fires are more concentrated during the late afternoon hours after this NASA satellite has overpassed the region. So what we are seeing from the satellite data, the NASA satellite data is just a partial picture, but not the totality of the fire activities. So I don't believe that the fire activities have gone down this year. That doesn't look true to me.
If we have to believe these things, one usually would think that what is the evidence that we can make us believe and understand that how the farmers are time crop the burning of the stubble. How actually they are understanding the cycle where they can evade the NASA satellite so that it cannot be accounted for.
Yeah, that's a very good question, even. And I posed this question on my X platform in one of my posts. I don't know exactly the correct answer why farmers have delayed the peak burning to the late afternoon hours. But it's not a localized phenomena. If you look at the satellite images, it's a statewide phenomenon. So everywhere in Punjab and some part of Haryana too. And I should also mention that there are fires on the other side of the border in the Punjab province of Pakistan. They are also contributing to the smoke loading or the particulate matter here over northern India. And all of them, at least over Punjab and Haryana, mostly Punjab, there is this very coordinated, it looks like very coordinated effort to burn in the late afternoon hours. I'm not sure why they have shifted this burning pattern to late afternoon, but the satellite data clearly shows that the majority of fires are now occurring between 4 to 5 or even 6 p.m. And I also heard some news from some other sources that some farmers are burning the crop residue in the night time also. For all of this thing, we need some ground truthing, some ground surveys over those regions to confirm what we are seeing from the satellite.
You have also posted a picture which in fact gives us an idea, and I'll request to just get it on my screen at this point of time, which says that time resolved progression of likelihood of active fires in Punjab, which shows exactly the kind of point that you are making, that at the same time, in fact, if we talk about 4 p.m. and 5 p.m., this is the kind of extent where we can see the red region marked significantly increasing the catching of the farm fires. And
That's
there,
true.
in fact, that's how we can understand. But Mr. Hiren, how do we make an understanding of this phenomenon? So does this say that we are missing on tracking the actual figure of how we can dictate and how we can understand the kind of farm fires have contributed into the national capital?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there are agencies in India, there are researchers like myself here in US. We all rely on the NASA and NOAA satellite. Those are US satellites. Okay, and if we rely on those satellite data, then no, we are not capturing the totality of the fire activities. Since 2022, we have seen this deep in the fires. 2022, 23, and now this year, the fires detected from the NASA satellites, they are going significantly down. But the air pollution level is not going down. It has actually increased this year in last couple of weeks. And those measurements are also corroborated by the ground level PM 2.5 measurements. They are also going up in last one or more than, I would say, 10 days. So if you look at the totality of this picture, the air pollution measurements from ground, PM 2.5, from satellite, they are actually going up this year. And that cannot be explained by any other sources other than this big statewide crop burning in Punjab, as well as on the other side of the border in Pakistan too.
Sir, are there any other states as well that we can look at which are also, being at this forefront of missing out, and especially which can be completely evaded from this phenomenon where farm fires are being tracked in the real numbers, apart from Punjab and Haryana?
Well, there are fires in Madhya Pradesh, and there are some number of fires in Uttar Pradesh also. So in MP, in Madhya Pradesh, we have seen some increase in the fires over the last few years, and this year particularly. But those fires are not actually affecting the national capital region or even Uttar Pradesh, because the wind direction is such that the smoke emitted from those fires are carried away over the western part of India and over the Arabian Sea. And actually from the satellite images, we have seen this smoke reaching all the way to the Eastern Africa over the period of time, over a few days. So yes, there are fires in other states, especially in Madhya Pradesh, but those fires are actually not affecting the what we call the Indo-Gangetic Plain in the northern India. The national capital region is mainly affected by the fires in Haryana and Punjab. And there are more fires in Punjab almost every year, but in Haryana we have seen some deep in the fire activities. But there are still some fires occurring over in Haryana region, which is sufficient still to cause this pollution spike in New Delhi.
So, in totality, how can we get the entire analysis and the study that in fact you have brought forward into the systems of the DSS, so that we don't have the two sides of one story? There is only one story, if at all. We have to make a point, and to resolve a crisis what has been unfolding in the national capital of such a mass level, which happens
Right.
to take place every year. This is in fact the only way to get the facts, the figures and the data right.
Right. So, in order to get the totality of the picture, we need, okay, first of all, from our perspective, we need a geostationary satellite sitting just over India and detecting these fires like every half an hour or every even hourly basis to really track from morning to evening and even night that there are how many total number of fires. We are not currently having that correct figure. What we are seeing from the polar orbiting satellite, from NASA satellite, just one part of the picture. We have sufficient data. This story continues every year. And we have sufficient data from satellite, from ground, from models. Okay, we don't, I think, need any more evidence and proofs to convince anyone that the major source during this time of the year, during post-monsoon, is this open field biomass burning or open field crop burning, which is affecting almost like the entire Indian subcontinent, and as well as two oceans, the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea also. So we have enough data. We have enough evidence as we speak right now. The New Delhi PM 2.5 currently, as we speak now, it's more than 600 microgram per cubic meter, which is about 40 to 50 times higher than the safe limit set by the WHO. Okay, what we need now is some coordinated efforts between governments, accredited agencies, NGOs, to really come to the same table and solve this problem in some way. It's a socio-economical and I would say political issue too. So I think it's the will of everyone to come to the same table. Let politics be aside and try to solve this problem, because right now there are millions and millions of people living in one of the most populated regions of the world. They are breathing this very, very heavy toxic air. Especially think about the sensitive group, like children and the people with asthma, allergies, elderly group. They cannot sustain this kind of pollution. Even in the house, even sitting in the house, you are still breathing the same air.
All right.
So I think it's I don't know. I mean, every year I put up my result on my research on X platform, Twitter before formerly, and I discuss this issue with the journalists and also people within our community, the research community. But there is no solution at sight right now. Now since last 2 years, it seems that since everyone was following the NASA satellite data and we saw the dip, even I was happy to see that the fires are decreasing. But now I understood that I was under delusion that the fires are not going down. It might have increased this year. Looking at the overall pollution load for northern India, it looks like it is either at the same level as the previous years before 2021, or it might have increased this year.
All right.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much for speaking to us and giving us your time and the breakthrough as far as the data and the studies is concerned. Mr. Hiren Jetwa, thank you for speaking to NewsX. Now viewers, let's also get the real picture on the ground.